Mr. Danielson will be filming us today. So thank you for being here, Bruce.
Welcome to the January Park Board meeting. Can we have a roll call, please?
Pat Lloyd, Patty Abdallah,
Here.
Lori Lindquist, Mark Steinborn,
Here.
Ann Noctigal,
Here.
Jim Stavanger,
Here.
Todd Sunleaf.
Here.
Okay, first order of business is approval of the minutes from the December 20th meeting. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to read those.
Move to approve. Second.
All right, we'll vote.
Patty Abdallah,
Yes?
Mark Steinborn,
Yes.
Ann Noctigal,
Yes.
Jim Stavanger,
Yes.
Todd Sunleaf.
Yes.
All right. We have reached the public input part of our meeting. If you are here for an agenda item, we ask that you wait until that agenda item is addressed. Otherwise, if you're here for something else, if you could just tell us your name and this is your opportunity for public input.
Liz Meilenberg. I do not see on the agenda the law coming up to be voted on about recording, tape recording, and so I have written this out. Regarding the taping of the Sioux Falls City Park Board meetings, I would like to ask you to consider the following. Who does the Park Board serve? Citizens. Who funds the Park Department budget? Citizens. Who has the legal right to attend and view at their discretion the Park Board meetings and decision-making process? Citizens. Who may have work and time conflicts with scheduled Park Board meetings? Citizens. Who expects and values open and transparent government? Citizens. It has been said that taping the Park Board will inhibit Park Board members' use of frank discussion. I question that excuse and dare to say anyone wanting to serve on a governmental board needs to have the confidence to work in the open and in transparency for the good of all citizens. If members are unable to work in the light of transparency, then government service simply is not for them. City council members are expected to meet and work in open transparency. Should not the same openness be expected of all citizen board members? I dare to say anyone who fails to embrace transparency through videotaping of meetings is permitting important decisions and huge expenditures to happen without public review. And that is especially applicable when a citizen board advises a city department with a budget the magnitude of the Sioux Falls Park Department. It is one of the highest funded departments in our city, if not the highest. Everyone in today's busy society, those who serve and those who do not, need to embrace transparency through videotaping for both the board's protection and the public's protection.
Thank you.
Peter Hassenstein, and I also would like to talk about the videotaping, and I'm wondering when it will come up before the board. And I would also like to say I would favor having the videotape.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Danielson. I was with you last month, and I just wanted to see if any of you happened to see the video that I posted online of last month's meeting. You see that all we want to do in the whole process of setting up the cameras is to be able to have anybody be able to go out and see what's going on. A few days after we all got together at the Butterfly House, there was a REMSA board meeting. And in that process of the REMSA board meeting, there became a disagreement between the press that was there and some of the statements that were made at the REMSA board. And it became quite a contentious discussion between the participants. And they waited for my video to get online so they could decide who actually said what and how it was said. And the only thing that kept that thing calm in that whole process was the fact that my video was there and it didn't lie. It was there. You could see the people talking and they heard what needed to be heard. And the reason that I got involved in recording the meetings in the first place is that I have a hearing deficit. And one of the things that's really important for me is being able to go back and listen to the videos to see if I actually heard what I thought I heard. And I want everybody here to understand that we're not doing anything that you should be afraid of, or anybody else in any other city board should be afraid of. I think that you will find it'll be good for you as these get loaded to YouTube, the city being involved in it. I think that's something that you need to look at very seriously and embrace, and thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next item is the report of the standing committees, marketing and public needs.
Everything we discussed is on the agenda here. We also discussed a little bit about the timing of buying the season passes for the aquatic center.
Okay. And park system planning and development, we met, and I think all of our agendas were the same. We did talk about the park board ordinance as well in our committees, as well as the aquatic season passes. Partnerships and recreation?
Nothing other than what's.
All right. There is no unfinished business and no new business, so I will turn it over to Don for the director's report.
Thank you. Just a couple of updates. As you know, the Parks and Rec Board ordinance is on tonight's City Council agenda, where they'll consider the audio and videotaping of the Parks and Recreation Board meetings, and so we'll find out how that ultimately turns out tonight. And then as far as when it would go into effect, if it's approved, typically it's 20 days after the publication of the ordinance before it actually goes into effect. So it would likely be our February board meeting where that would go into effect if it's approved. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that we found out late last week that the a city council member has put the Sioux Falls Ice and Recreation Center property on the city council for potential gifting of that property to the Glory House, which is adjacent to the Sioux Falls Ice and Rec Center. And so that came as a bit of a surprise, pretty big surprise to us that that was going to be liquidated. And so I wanted you to be aware of that. I understand that there are a couple more steps in the process in addition to the resolution that was placed on the agenda for tonight's meeting. And so if you hear about that at all, I wanted you to be aware of that because we just found out late last week that that was an item on the city council agenda.
Don, we're using that for storage, right?
Yeah, we're currently storing on the perimeter of it because we can't use the actual ice sheet itself for storage because we don't want to ruin the coils, which are still in operable condition, as well as the ice making equipment for our Winter Wonderland displays and some of our summer outdoor furniture that we use at our various aquatic facilities to keep that out of the elements. And so we do use the perimeter of that building and those spaces for storage of all the stuff we have at Falls Park for Winter Wonderland and some of those other need for indoor storage, just to try to allow our equipment to wear a little better inside versus outside. So as soon as I know more about that, I'll bring you up to speed, but I didn't want you to be surprised if there was an article in the paper tomorrow about that, but that's really what that's about. Obviously, the staff are trying to get brought up to speed on what that proposal consists of. So anyway, wanted you to be aware of that.
Well, and one thing with 49th Street going through, the value of the land would likely change, I would think.
Yeah, we certainly think that we recently acquired a parcel of property just to the north of the existing Ice and Rec Center property to be able to accommodate the extension of 49th Street. And so that's one of the things that we would like to be able to vet too, to know how that would be potentially impacted. So that's a couple updates, and then we are going to have our first ever swim meet starting this Friday at the Midco Aquatic Center. We have had great attendance at the facility, and people are very, very happy with the outcome of the facility. I would tell you that probably 99% of all the comments and feedback that we've had about the Midco Aquatic Center have been extremely positive. And so we just continue on a very good path there. And so just wanted you to be aware of it. It's a free to attend type of event. So I encourage you to come on out and check it out. Realize that the rec pool is still open for the general public to be able to use it, as well as the shallow end of the 50-meter facility. People still want to swim laps or recreate in that end of it as well. So,
How are you handling the traffic for that?
We're currently we're working with the swim teams here in Sioux Falls, the Sioux Falls swim teams on accommodating that traffic. We think that the parking lot will be very busy on Friday night, where we believe the majority of the swim meet attendees will be at the event. And then as the event goes on, obviously the number of people that are actually at the event will subside. We do have parking lot attendants that will be in the parking lots themselves, directing people in and out of those parking lots to make sure that they know when they're full, and if they are full, whether potential other parking spots if we need to reach capacity.
Where are you sending the additional parking?
Well, there's additional on-street parking that's available, and so we have some of that identified as where the general public can park on off streets and side streets as well. So I really don't have a lot more to report other than those items, and be glad to take any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions for them? They went over most things in committee, so.
As far as the room reservations go at the Aquatic Center, they've been pretty busy.
What was that? Sorry.
The room reservations
Yes,
at the
they've been
Aquatic
very
Center.
busy. We've been very excited with them. Last weekend, we had 17 on Saturday. So it's busy. People are really enjoying it, and we've been getting a lot of great feedback on the room rentals. Yeah.
On one day?
Mm-hmm. And then the diving, the product that they're serving, and then just their customer service and everything else. We've been getting a lot of great feedback. So we're really excited. I think they'll continue to grow, and more people will rent those. So we're excited for that. We even have some this weekend with the swim meet going on. So
Are those rooms available like for a certain time on the weekends and then in the evenings, or just?
any hours
weekdays?
that were open, you can reserve them. Actually, there was a city training there this morning that they were having in meeting room 1 and 2. So a wide variety of activities happening.
If I could, I might just like to give you an update too, with, since Kelby's not here, it's kind of his department, but with the warmer weather temperatures, obviously we'll be watching the skating rinks, and with it to be sunny and at 40 degrees, they'll probably go in a hurry. And so, if you hear that some of them are, warming houses are closed or whatever, going into next week or whatever, that's the reason.
I noticed in some of the totals for the ice rink comparison reports for the outdoor, there's some months in 2015, 2016, where there were no people there because the rinks weren't usable anymore. And this goes back to 2014, and I think in December, and I think the Iceplex opened up in November 2014, the indoor. Did that poll, do you think that decreased the amount of people in outdoor rinks, or not really too much? As far as people going out and using the open?
Right. I think that our attendance really does depend on the weather and the conditions of the rinks, but also when it's really, really cold, instead of going to our outdoor rinks, it's a lot more convenient to go to the Iceplex where you don't have to battle the elements. And so it just really depends on the season. And so when it's a little bit nicer and it's not so frigid when you go out there, our attendance numbers increase, but it also can be like this week where we're going to have possibly marginal ice conditions. So, but I think people are enjoying the Iceplex, and I know we partnered with them for Frosty Frolics for the first time, and so we did our Teen Cosmic Escape at the Iceplex, and we had the highest attendance that we've had because I think the kids really enjoyed going there and being inside versus outside. So.
I think we hit, one of our goals was try to make more activities available for people in Sioux Falls during the winter months, and it's hard in the Midwest. But with Great Bear, the Indoor Aquatic Center, the Iceplex, all those things have helped a lot. But if we could fill in some of these months where we have 0 people out in ice rinks outside, and that's something to look at in the future. Maybe one of our goals, is just to get a couple of rinks with maybe a type of cooling system where people could use those outdoor rinks when the weather does get warm and it doesn't run always. So.
Because we were out and about for a walk on Sunday up by Memorial. It was absolutely packed.
Yeah, that is one of our busiest ones.
It was just incredible. Have we ever thought about expansion? Because, it was packed. And, they were able to skate, but it was, mean, it was literally like
Busy.
side by side, and I don't know, has there ever been any thought of that, or?
Well,
Do you
we've
want to
got,
speak to that?
we've got a study to take a look at outdoor ice as a whole
Okay.
from a citywide standpoint, so that's something we'll be taking off on here later this year to look at all the individual rinks that we have, what do we need to fill our needs, how can we fill in some of those extra months where we've got some gaps in attendance, and which size should they be and where should they be located, so we'll be taking a look at that later this year.
Okay.
And refrigerated ice was one of the priorities for the park board too, trying to get some refrigerated ice outdoors.
We have 6 outdoor ice rinks located around town, and then we do have 2 hockey rinks, one at Memorial, and then also one at Sherman. So,
And you said Memorial is the busiest?
Memorial and Ted Hill are usually our
Ted
2
Hill.
busiest rinks. Ted Hill, with it being a little bit shaded, that always has really pretty decent ice, and then Memorial has been popular since we opened, so.
We were at Ted Hill on Saturday. They used to have those like walkers for adults. Do we still have those?
We will be purchasing more of those. We have found a new vendor, and so we'll be getting some more for next season.
You need one of those?
Well,
You know, they're usually for kids, but we can get,
Can I
we can
pre-order
get you
one?
one.
Any further questions for Don or anyone? If not, there are no communications to the board, open board discussion, if you have any other items you want to talk about. Otherwise, if we've covered everything, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Could you put your cookies down, please? Security, escort this gentleman out, please.
Come on, Soda Pop, let's go.